Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, July 26th. This is Gina Palma. In the upcoming week, we will continue to see thunderstorms over the eastern half of the Great Basin the next few days, with a decrease in lightning activity later this week. Otherwise, hot, dry, and breezy winds will occur across many areas of the Great Basin, and this will allow fire danger to increase steadily through the weekend. In the coming days, again, we'll continue to see those thunderstorms today in the east, with a couple of thunderstorms possible in Nevada or eastern Idaho. And then the lightning activity is really pushed further east as we get towards the middle of the week. Otherwise, hot, dry, and breezy conditions continue in the north, west, and even southern areas the next few days, with many areas with gusts in the 30s, but very dry relative humidity. And we've seen recent lightning in many of these areas, so we could see some holdovers, as well as continued light to moderate initial attack from the lightning. Looking at our precipitation, over the last 24 hours, we saw scattered thunderstorms across parts of northern Nevada, into northern Utah and southern Idaho, which brought isolated areas of wetting rains over 1/4 inch. Otherwise, thunderstorm activity and wetting rains were more isolated in the south and over western Nevada, with a couple of thunderstorms that developed in the Salmon Chalice. Over the last 7 days, we've seen widespread thunderstorm activity, bringing those wetting rains, which pushed many areas to above normal for precipitation for the last week. But there still are some drier spots just due to the convective nature of these thunderstorms across many areas of the Great Basin. Yesterday, we saw 24 fires reported for just under 5,000 acres, and you can see all of those new fires in the red dots on the map. Many areas grew to some size in the north, with Great Basin still at PL3 and Nick at PL5. Looking at our morning satellite, scattered cloud cover across the region, so we will again see those thunderstorms. Quite a bit of smoke in the north from both fires to our west in Oregon and also our ongoing incidents in Idaho. And looking at the smoke forecast, we're expecting smoke impacts across the north for quite some time. Looking at our current fire danger conditions, kind of a patchwork across the Great Basin, with many areas in Nevada and Utah still in that 50th to 80th percentile, but will continue to increase. Further north, where we've seen a lot of those drier conditions in many areas, we do have current ERCs above the 80th to 90th percentile. And you can see from the charts here on the right, all areas will steadily climb through the next 7 days, especially later this week. And we will see many areas reaching the 90th percentile and many above the 97th, especially in the north. Looking at our weather pattern for the next couple of days, high pressure remains to the east with this low pressure trough off the west coast, which is what will continue to give us our breezy winds and drier conditions, especially in northern and western areas, and keep those thunderstorms over the eastern half of the Great Basin. You will see drier air pushing in, especially towards Monday, Tuesday in the west, and that will continue spreading across the Great Basin. We do have some high risk for the next couple of days for these gusty winds and drier conditions across the north, and we've also seen recent lightning, so we could see some holdovers in these areas as well as the wind impacting some of our ongoing incidents in the Payette. Looking at the details, the gusty winds, you can see most of these areas, again, southwest winds with most gusts in the 30s over the next couple of days, and we will start to see those winds decrease a bit as we get towards the middle of the week. Relative humidity remains very dry with more widespread single digits spreading across the area as we get towards Tuesday. So many areas across the western half of the Great Basin will see relative humidity in the teens and single digits. Looking at the precipitation, just fairly spotty with the thunderstorms, again, in many of the same areas today and tomorrow, and then getting pushed mainly into central and eastern Utah by Tuesday. Temperatures really won't change a whole lot, still remaining hot and above normal, especially with those temperatures above 100 degrees over the eastern half of the Great Basin. As we move from mid to late week, this high pressure starts to build and expand further westward, so we will see hotter conditions and drier weather, especially as we get towards Thursday, Friday. We don't have any high risk across the Great Basin, but a lot more drying, so seeing more moderate risk or low to moderate risk across the region. Looking at our wind conditions, as that ridge builds west, the winds really should start to taper off. Still some occasional breezes in the north, and we will see those very low single-digit relative humidity spread eastward across the Great Basin. So even many areas in Utah will see those relative humidities drop into the single digits and teens, as well as across the north. We will lose our lightning activity as we get towards Thursday, Friday, so drier conditions, and we will see those temperatures heat up, with most valley locations reaching 100 degrees or over 100 degrees by Thursday or Friday. Recap of our 7-day, we only have high risk in the north for those gusty winds and dry conditions today and tomorrow, but we will be watching the area from mid to late week as conditions dry out to see if we need any burn environment high risk. But with those drier conditions, we will at least lose our lightning activity, but we will be watching for holdovers. And looking at the 6 to 10-day outlook from July 31st through August 4th, that ridge of high pressure really starts to solidify over and south of the region, so that will keep temperatures very hot, with drier conditions really region-wide heading into the first week of August. We might start to see some precipitation and moisture move back into the far southern areas as we get towards mid to late next week, but really the north will stay very dry. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.